Cell signaling in bipolar disorder. An overview. Names for bipolar disorder include bipolar affective disorder and manic depression. Symptoms include mood swings with manic highs and lows, irritability, loss of clear speech during manic highs and lows, long phases of depression, and impulsive behavior. So, diagnosis and study. Doctors examine patients based on their symptoms and family history to diagnose bipolar disorder. Genetics play a huge role in bipolar disorder because many who suffer from it inherit the gene from family members. Recent research using mice has shown that many people with bipolar disorder carry a genetic mutation called ANT1. Functional magnetic resonance imaging has also been used to detect neurons in the brain and has furthered the research on bipolar disorder and how the neurons in the brain are overactive in the brain of someone with bipolar disorder. So using an example of a functional magnetic resonance image, I drew this diagram of neurotransmitters in the brain of a normal brain. And so as you can see, there is a clear pathway as to where these signals are going. And using the same idea, here is my diagram of someone's brain who is bipolar and their neurotransmitters. And as you can see that there are different neurons flowing in different directions, and that's causing like the overactive and hyper ability to feel different things just because there's so much going on in their brain. So signal transduction pathway. The receptor in the pathway is a G-coupled protein receptor. This receptor has two binding sites, one is extracellular and one is in the cytoplasm. The G protein involved is a stimulatory protein, also known as GAS. The second messengers involved are IP3, which is also known as inositol 4,5-triphosphate, and DAG or diacylglycerol. So scaffolding proteins and relay molecules all depend on what part of the brain that scientists are focusing on, but they can include RAS, RAF, MEK, ERK, and RSK, and all of these different molecules play a different role in different parts of the brain. And scientists are still trying to figure out all the different pathways and parts of the brain that are affected by bipolar disorder. A protein kinase involved is glycogen synthase kinase 3, or GSK3, and its function is to release the inhibition caused by the disease and to activate target cells. So the problem with bipolar disorder is that it is inherited and it's not turned on or off. It also comes in different forms that affect different parts of the brain more or less, but medications like lithium have been used to treat and manage this disease. So here's my diagram of what's going on in a typical brain cell when someone has bipolar disorder. So I'm just showing like the different pieces that are involved that I talked about. So the ligand is dopamine, and this is the GPCR protein. This is the stimulatory G protein, also known as GAS. This is the extracellular side and the cytoplasmic side and the plasma membrane. So this is a transmembrane protein. This is the protein kinase GSK3. These are second messengers, which can be IP3, DAG, and they can also be calcium ions, just depending on what part of the brain you're talking about. And scaffolding protein with various relay molecules attached to it. The type varies, like I said. And then the enzyme that catalyzes all of this also depends on what part of the brain that you're talking about. So the unknown. There is much about bipolar disorder that scientists still do not know because there's so many things involved with this disorder. For example, genetics, an imbalance of hormones, stress, a recent tragedy, and more can all influence manic depression. Dopamine is also not the only neurotransmitter that acts as a ligand to target cells. Serotonin and noradrenaline are also included. Scientists are still trying to figure out the vast difference between a normal brain and that of a person with bipolar disorder. Brain imaging has helped scientists get a better picture of the parts of the brain that are more and less active in people with different diseases. Brain imaging, however, is new and is not yet proven to be a reliable way to diagnose mental disorders and conditions. But since it is a new thing that scientists are doing and it has to do with bipolar disorder, I wanted to include it in my presentation. So as you can see, I'm trying to find lighting. This is the brain of a normal brain. And there are various diseases listed here, and then this is the brain of a person with bipolar disorder. And as you can see, there's so much more activeness, so much just more happening in these parts of the brain than someone with a normal brain. But as I said, this has not yet been proven to diagnose different brain disorders, but it's a new method that scientists are using for research purposes. So there's still much unknown in this world about bipolar disorder, but hopefully new technologies like brain imaging will help researchers better understand this disorder and others like it. Thank you.